Hello my friends, and welcome to the Chris Cooking Nashville kitchen. I'm Chris, better known online as Chris Cooking Nashville, and if you are brand new to who I am, let me just tell you really quickly why you should be excited about learning how to cook a steak with the Route 22 meat that you have. And by the way, congratulations on having a box of some of the best beef and other proteins that you can find in the world from Route 22. We're gonna show you how to do something real special with it. And the reason that I'm the guy doing that is because I started my YouTube channel and started creating recipes because I've actually lost about 130 pounds eating low carb, keto, and carnivore style diets. I'm a chef at heart, and when I decided to start focusing on animal foods as a way to gain my metabolic health back, I needed the enjoyment of being in the kitchen and elevating those animal foods, just honestly so I could enjoy being in the kitchen, being creative, cooking for people, doing the things that I love to do while still taking care of my health. And we know that animal proteins are so good for us. Animal fats make our brains feel so good, and Route 22 is one of the best sources of beef and other meats that I have ever found. I love getting to collaborate with them on this, and when they asked me to do this, I said, yes, I would absolutely love to do something like this. So we're going to show you guys how to take something beautiful out of that Route 22 meat box that you have and turn it into a special dinner for you, your family, your friends, whoever you would like to share with. And the cool thing is the technique I'm about to show you can work with basically any kind of meat that you can cook in a skillet that comes from Route 22, be it beef or pork or anything else. This technique is going to work for all of them. Today, I'm going to show you how to do it with one of these beautiful grass-fed, grass-finished ribeyes, and I'm going to show you a simple pan sauce that is going to take what you're cooking and make it feel like it's a 3 Michelin star restaurant right in your very own home. Go ahead and jump in the kitchen and let's cook some steak. So I have a cast iron skillet here. This is preheating over a medium high to high heat. We want this pretty close to smoking, and I'm going to be cooking with beef tallow. You can use any fat that you want. You can use ghee, you could use lard, you could use bacon grease, you could use chicken fat, you can use the beef tallow like I'm using. You could use butter, but you do have to be careful because the dairy solids of butter can burn. So I would recommend maybe going with ghee, because we're actually going to be using a little bit of butter in the pan sauce. So you don't really need the flavor of that on the steak just yet. But I'm going to use beef tallow. A couple of tablespoons of that will be plenty. It's just enough to get a nice thin coating over the bottom of whatever skillet you're using. And the size of skillet you use depends on how many steaks you're cooking. So we're going to get that preheated. Now, if you like this kind of stuff, if you like these sorts of recipes, come check me out on my main YouTube channel, Chris Cooking Nashville, because I have a whole bunch of other stuff. And I'm going to be releasing a cookbook coming soon called Eat Your Meat, Love Your Life, which is my slogan on my YouTube channel. So guys, get ready to pre-order if you like recipes just like this, because it's going to be full of all of my best recipes. So this is preheating. It is going to be really nice and hot before I put the fat in. That's important because it's going to help us not only crust the steak, but also keep it from sticking to the pan more than necessary. And I recommend you do something like cast iron or a heavy bottom stainless steel. You do not want non-stick or thin aluminum pans for this, because we want to get a crust on that steak. Whether you're doing a ribeye, a sirloin, a New York strip, a filet mignon, any of these kinds of steaks, this technique will work, and it's going to give you the most incredible flavor because you get that crust, which is the Maillard reaction, where the glucose molecules that are in the meat actually caramelize, turn brown, they create flavor compounds that don't exist in there otherwise. They taste amazing, and that's why every great steak restaurant out there is chasing that crust and that Maillard reaction, and when you taste it, you go, wow, this is incredible. So this is a grass-fed, grass-finished ribeye from Route 22 Meats. It looks incredible. What I did with this is I salted this on both sides really well. You don't want to under-season your steak because a bland steak is just a missed opportunity. So I salted this really well on both sides, and then I let this sit uncovered with salt on it. You need at least 2 hours, but overnight is better. Salt it, stick it in the refrigerator, leave it uncovered so that that air can start to dry out the surface with that salt on it. What's going to happen is the salt is going to actually dissolve. It's going to work its way through via osmosis. the salt is actually going to turn into a sodium brine, which is going to pull moisture out of the steak. And then because of the high salinity and it wanting to reach stasis, with osmosis, it's going to push that sodium back through the steak. That's going to season the steak all the way through. Not only does it taste better, it also holds on to more of the moisture, which means you get a more juicy steak, and the sodium interacts with the myosin and the actin, which are the proteins inside the steak. It helps to tenderize them. So when they cook, they do not bond as tightly, which means they don't push as much moisture out. And that also means they stay more tender. So you get a more flavorful, better seasoned, juicier, more tender steak. So this has been sitting for several hours with salt. Our pan is ready. I have patted this very, very dry. Moisture on the outside of your steak is the enemy of the best steak in the world. So get rid of that moisture, use paper towels if necessary, or like I said, leave it in the refrigerator overnight and that will dry out the surface really well. You can see my pan is nice and smoking hot when I put the beef tallow in there. We're just gonna make sure everything is lightly coated in beef tallow, and then we're going to put our steak in. Now, I do not have pepper or any other seasonings on the steak yet. This is just salt. We will add seasonings in a moment. We should hear a nice sizzle when this goes into the pan. Now, if you do not hear a sizzle when you throw your steak into the pan, get it right back out immediately and let that pan preheat longer. It should sizzle as soon as it goes into the pan. Now let's take your hand very gently, add just a little bit of pressure on top of the steak just to make sure we get really good contact with the pan, because this first contact is how we're going to get that nice crust to start with the Maillard reaction, which is where all of the flavor and texture is going to come from on the outside of that steak. All right, so it's been about 3 to 4 minutes on that first side. We should have a nice brown crust. We're gonna go ahead and flip the steak over, do the same thing on the second side, and we're gonna talk about how to get your steak done perfectly. So the steak is now on the second side. It's gonna take another probably 3 to 5 minutes to cook this through the way I like it at medium rare. I'm gonna put a table on the screen for you guys of all of the temperatures of doneness. The best and most accurate way to check your steak for doneness to make sure it's cooked how you like would be to use an instant read thermometer or maybe a wireless probe thermometer, something along the lines of this type of instant read is really useful to have in the kitchen. Just pull it out, stick it in, and make sure that it's the right temperature in the center of your steak. And you want to stop your steak from cooking about 10 degrees, 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit lower than where you eventually want to go, because carryover cooking is going to make your steak continue to cook after you take it out. So stay 5 to 10 below where you inevitably want to end up, and carryover cooking will finish cooking for you. Now, if you don't have one of those thermometers and you're in a pinch, there's something you can do. You can take your finger and make a circle with your finger and thumb, and you can press in the soft spot between the bone of the first finger and the bone of the thumb. The first finger is super rare. The second finger, if you touch that's more of a rare to medium rare. The ring finger is more of a medium pushing towards medium well. The pinky is more of a medium well to well done. And if you make a fist, don't eat it. Now the steak is gonna be coming out here in just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and add my black pepper on top of it now. If we would have added it before, it would have burnt and started tasting bitter. So a little fresh ground black pepper over top of the steak about a minute before it comes out is perfect. Now, as with any recipe, if there is a seasoning or a spice or a sauce or something that you don't like, that you don't use, feel free to leave it out. It's always up to you to customize your dishes to make them suit your own taste. That black pepper is gonna taste fantastic, but if it bothers you, you can feel free to leave it out. Our steak is done. I'm going to pull the steak out and I'm gonna let it sit here and rest, because carryover cooking is going to finish cooking that for me. I'm not going to cut it right now because as it sits here, the juices are going to redistribute throughout the meat, and that way we get the most tender and juicy steak possible. But we have all of this flavor that is now left in this pan, and we can do some incredible stuff with that. So let's make a pan sauce while the steak sits here and rests. Have the pan over a medium heat, and this is about 1/2 cup of beef broth. You could use chicken broth, you could use a vegetable broth if that's something you're into. You could use even just water if you wanted to then just throw some seasonings in it and you had plenty of stuff in the pan that had cooked to the bottom of the pan. That stuff that is cooked onto the bottom of the pan off of the steak, that's pure flavor and it's called fond. We're gonna use the broth and pour it into the pan while it's hot. It's gonna sizzle, and we're gonna use a whisk, and we're actually going to break all of that stuff that is cooked onto the pan into little bits and cook it up into this broth, and then I'll show you what we add to make it a pan sauce. So we're starting to cook this beef broth down. I'm going to reduce it by about 1/2. And as we do that, we concentrate these flavors down. But the beef broth by itself would be kind of a boring pan sauce. You can totally do that if you want, but I like to step things up a little bit. So to that beef broth, I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of minced garlic and about 1/4 cup of heavy cream. The dairy is optional, but it does make this really, really nice, especially if you like a creamy sauce on your steak. We're just gonna whisk this all together, and we're gonna start cooking this down and reducing it so that it becomes thicker and more concentrated. We're gonna reduce this by somewhere around 1/2. And as we do that, that cream and beef broth is going to start to thicken down and turn into this incredible sauce that we can then plate with our steak. Another totally optional addition, if you're someone who's into these kinds of things, a couple of tablespoons of a nice red wine that you would enjoy sipping a glass. It's a really welcome addition to a steak sauce. While that sauce continues to cook down, it's got a couple more minutes to go, I'm actually gonna chop up some fresh parsley. Again, optional if you don't do the herb thing, but it's really nice to have a little bit of finely chopped parsley, nice and fresh, to go in there just to lift the flavor of the sauce. We're gonna add that at the very last moment so that it doesn't cook more than necessary. We just want it to lightly cook in the hot steak sauce, not actually get boiled to death as we cook it down. So our sauce is reduced by about 50%, and as you can see, it is starting to thicken up. When I pull the whisk through it, it leaves lines behind it in the pan because the texture has gotten a lot thicker. So at this point, we're going to put it on a medium low to low heat. We want it to just barely be simmering, or maybe even slightly under simmering, where it is hot but not actually bubbling, because now we're going to create a butter emulsion. I have a few tablespoons of butter cut up into small cubes here, and I actually put this in the freezer for about 10 minutes to make sure it's nice and cold. We're going to do this butter emulsion technique using cold cubes of butter, and the reason it's important that it's cold, the cold butter is actually going to help stabilize the proteins and the fats as it emulsifies into this sauce with liquid. The cold butter keeps that more stable as we do that so that it will not split as easily, which is going to give us a nice, thick, emulsified butter-based sauce, especially because we have extra things that are helping with that because of the cream in there, the dairy proteins and the fats that are in that being cooked down. That's going to stabilize the sauce even further. So the sauce is hot, but it is not simmering, and just 1 cube of very cold butter at a time, we're going to whisk this in. And for the amount of sauce that I have here, it's probably going to take about 2 tablespoons of butter. You want to be careful. You don't want to do too much, because if you throw in too much butter, it will eventually split, and then it just becomes greasy and fatty, and it's not any good. So we're going to slowly whisk in 1 cube of butter at a time until we've got 2, maybe 3 tablespoons of butter worked into this, and it's going to create a nice thick pan sauce. And then I'll show you how we season it, serve it, and enjoy it. All right, I have worked all of that butter in. I'm just going to add in a couple more things while this is hot, and then it's time to serve this up. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper because that'll be really nice in the sauce. And then we can go ahead and add in our parsley. This is the right time to do that. The residual heat that is in the sauce is going to soften that and pull out all of those essential oils, which is what we want from an herb, but without completely destroying the leaves, which will give it nice freshness. And the last thing we need to do is taste it for seasoning. And it's perfect just the way it is. You could add a pinch of salt if necessary. Now let's grab a plate. And let's plate up your Route 22 Meats steak and this beautiful pan sauce. And there is the grass-fed, grass-finished ribeye steak from Route 22 with the most incredible pan sauce. This is a very simple and straightforward thing to do with any kind of steak that you can cook in a skillet, but it absolutely blows your mind how much you can level up a steak, even the cheapest steaks that are out there, let alone something as amazing as these Route 22 meat steaks. The recipe for all of this, to remind you of all of the steps, is in the description box of this video. All you gotta do is go down below, hit more, and you'll see it is all written out there for you. If you have not done a steak this way, I promise you're gonna do it for the first time. You're gonna taste it and you're gonna go, well, why have I never done this before? Because it is absolutely incredible. Thank you, Route 22, for all of the work that you do. And for all of you guys who are watching this video that got that box of Route 22 meat, make sure you enjoy it. Make this steak, sit down with your family or your friends and enjoy it, and do it with absolutely no hesitation, knowing that not only is the protein and the fat in these animal meats so good for your body and your brain, but you are doing your part to support small farmers who are doing incredible things and raising beautiful beef just like this, and you're helping them support their families and their communities as well. All of us together working on making stuff like this more accessible and affordable for more people is how we change the world one plate at a time, just like I'm always trying to do on my channel. Thank you guys for hanging out with me in my kitchen. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you go and enjoy using this process to level up your steaks so that you can do something really incredible. This is Chris Cooking Nashville. You guys remember to eat your meat, especially when it's from Route 22 and you can put a pan sauce on it and make it look like that. Love your life. I'll see you in my kitchen for a whole bunch of recipes. And if you haven't subscribed to me yet and you like recipes like this, make sure you do that while you're here. Get ready for that cookbook coming soon, because pre-orders are going to be coming, and you guys make sure to enjoy every last bit of that Route 22 box that you have in front of you. Thank you so much for being here. You guys have a wonderful day, great holiday season, and we'll see you guys in the kitchen next time.